Police in St. Petersburg, Russia arrested people protesting against the war in Ukraine today. So far, they've arrested more than 1,700 Russians for protesting. Today, Russian troops advanced toward Ukraine's capital with gunfire and explosions close to the government quarter. The invasion has created fear among Europe and some international leaders, with some fearing this is the beginning of another war. Within the last 15 minutes, we've learned Russia has vetoed the UN Security Council's resolution that called on Moscow to halt its attack on Ukraine and withdraw troops. Good afternoon, I'm Peyton Headley. Thanks for joining us today. President Biden announced he plans to freeze assets of Russian President Putin, matching EU sanctions against Russian leadership. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington, D.C.
As Russian troops closed in on Ukraine's capital today, the sounds of war grew louder in Kyiv, gunfire and explosions. Air raid sirens blaring. A hunted people huddled underground, flooding train stations and border crossings to flee or rising up to fight back.
My husband is still there. We'll fight, even if Europe doesn't help us.
Ukrainian officials releasing images of a Russian plane shot down and a bridge blown up to slow the Russian advance. President Biden speaking today with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who released a video message showing him standing his ground in the besieged capital. That after telling world leaders they might not see him alive again, pleading for help to stop Russian President Vladimir Putin, and now offering to negotiate on a key Putin demand that Ukraine abandon ambitions of joining NATO, a top Russian official suggesting it may be too late.
Russia has shattered peace on the European continent.
President Biden joining NATO leaders in an emergency meeting, weighing how far they can challenge Putin without escalating to direct military conflict. NATO's Secretary General announcing that for the first time in history, part of the NATO response force is deploying for collective defense by land, air, and sea. The 40,000-member force includes American troops. They'll defend allies along NATO's eastern flank, but will not enter Ukraine.
That was Alice Barr. Western leaders are still hoping economic sanctions will wear down President Putin, but he's showing no signs of backing down. On Capitol Hill, many lawmaker calls are growing louder to make those punishments even more severe. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has prompted the withdrawal of several international sporting events and a major song competition from Russia. European soccer's governing body voted to relocate this season's Champions League final. It was originally scheduled for St. Petersburg, Russia. The game will now take place in Paris. Formula One is also boycotting Russia, canceling the 2022 Russian Grand Prix. Russia will also now be banned from the finale of this year's Eurovision Song Contest.
Too long, our government, our courts haven't looked like America.
In other national news today, President Biden has announced his nomination for the U.S. Supreme Court. Biden says he will nominate Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to fill the seat left vacant when Justice Stephen Breyer announced his retirement in January. Biden called Jackson one of our nation's brightest legal minds.
And it's my honor to introduce to the country a daughter of former public school teachers, a proven consensus builder, an accomplished lawyer, a distinguished jurist, one of the nation's most prestigious courts. My nominee for the United States Supreme Court is Judge Ketanji Jackson.
If confirmed, Jackson would be the first black woman to serve on the United States Supreme Court. The CDC announced today it's relaxing mask-wearing guidelines. It's basing this decision for prevention on the latest data. The levels include low, medium, and high strain on the community's healthcare system.
We have thresholds that we've measured that Dr. Massetti has discussed, and we created those thresholds based on their ability to be predictive of ICU stays, hospitalizations, and deaths in 3 to 6 weeks in the future so that we could take action.
The CDC says more than 70% of the U.S. population is in a location with a low or medium COVID-19 community level.
It was another cold day today, and we're still seeing those cold temperatures. 25 in Columbia, 26 in Jefferson City. If you are heading home or heading home soon on your commute home from work, watch out. These temperatures are pretty cold. If anything was left on the sidewalks from the melting that occurred today, it could be creating some slippery surfaces, and we're going to have to watch out for that tomorrow morning as well. But tomorrow's going to kick off a warming trend, 43 on Saturday and 52 on Sunday, and that trend is going to continue into next week as well, back into the upper 50s on Monday and staying there for a good part of your next week. I'll have full details coming up.
One man is in custody after the Columbia Police Department says he crashed a car into the car of an elderly couple and then accidentally shot himself. CPD says the couple is in the hospital and in stable condition. The crash happened at Brown Station and Blue Ridge Roads. CPD says they stopped Timothy Ellis for a traffic stop, but he sped off before hitting the couple. CPD says Ellis had an outstanding warrant for his alleged involvement with a shooting that happened in Columbia last week. A spokesperson for CPD says while fleeing, Ellis shot himself on accident.
He did sustain a gunshot wound from himself. He accidentally shot himself, sustaining an injury. He was transported to a local hospital in stable condition. I just received word that he actually has already left the hospital.
CPD closed Brown Station Road and diverted traffic while it investigated. The South Korea presidential election has made its way into mid-Missouri. Columbia was selected as an overseas polling location for the election. KMUH's Jacob Murphy is live at the polling place to tell us about why Columbia was chosen and what it means for the South Korean community. Jacob.
Peyton, voters all day have been filing in and out of this room behind me. Just a couple of minutes ago, the door was closed and locked so the volunteers inside could start counting the votes from today. Today was the first of 3 days that eligible voters could vote. The other 3 polling locations include Chicago, Detroit, and Indianapolis. There are currently 160 scholars and students from South Korea at MU.
When they first heard the news that we've been designated as a 4th additional polling station in Columbia, Missouri, they were really surprised.
There are over 47,000 South Koreans in the United States that are eligible to vote, and 250 of those people are right here in Missouri. Reporting live in Columbia, Jacob Murphy, KMU8 News.
Coming up, how the conflict in Ukraine could affect farmers and your food. Plus, how much the price of gas could climb to in the coming days.
And we're looking for a dry week ahead of us. No more Thursday snowstorms. I'll have a full look at your 8-day forecast coming up.
You're taking a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport. This is KMU8 News at 5, coverage you can